We have engaged with numerous LGBT groups, but the fact of the matter is that many of them support self-ID. That is not this government's policy. Stonewall does not decide the law in this country.
That was our toxic Kemi Badenoch caught out telling complete lies again. Well, that was on the 6th of December 2023, where our Kemi Badenough was stoking up the culture wars again on gender recognition, when Lib Dem MP Christine Jardine asked this question.
So could she perhaps tell us which organisations in this country concerned with LGBT rights and with human rights generally she consulted in this statement and what their response and recommendations were?
I thank the Honourable Lady for her question. She is right. We did carry out extensive consultations, but remember, this is something which we do repeatedly and periodically. The fact that we have not carried this out since 2011 shows that we have been remiss in our duties, and that is something that I am fixing. And one of the issues that we have is that a lot of people do not understand the law where it comes to self-identification. We are providing clarity there. We have engaged with numerous LGBT groups, but the fact of the matter is that many of them support self-ID. That is not this government's policy. Stonewall does not decide the law in this country. Whatever it is that people want to campaign on, we will listen and we will hear. But we have been very clear about this. We have been very clear about this. And this is something that we are not budging on, and we are updating the law in accordance with government policy, and we will continue to do so.
So at least she's been engaging with numerous LGBT groups. So what's the problem? Well, apart from the stoking culture wars, I suppose. Well, Labour MP Ben Bradshaw brought up a tiny flaw in her statement.
In December, the Cabinet Minister for Equalities told this House that she had engaged, and I quote, extensively with LGBT organisations since her appointment 18 months ago. A Freedom of Information answer published this week reveals that, in fact, the Minister hasn't met a single LGBT organisation, but has met 2 fringe groups that actively campaign against transgender rights. What is the problem the Prime Minister and a section of his party have with trans people, and his Equalities Minister has with the truth?
Oh, can't be asked to meet and greet with LGBT organisations, but cannot wait to engage with Cara Bell. I'm determined to meet up with LGB Alliance and jump into bed with Sex Matters. So much so, Sex Matters wrote her a lovely love letter, a marriage made in heaven, eh? But it didn't end there. The chair of the Business and Trade Committee, Byrne, asked for a point of order after PMQs last week, where she had said something on the 29th of January that tweaked his interest, where she said this about the Canada trade negotiations.
I thank the Honourable Gentleman for his question. It's a good opportunity for me to state explicitly, talks have not broken down. There are multiple discussions that we are having with Canada on cheese, where we have not come to an agreement. However, the quotas that we have in CPTPP with Canada, 16.5 kilotons, are more than what we are selling to Canada at the moment, 2 kilotons. So we're not particularly concerned about that, although it is disappointing. We have a rules of origin discussion that is ongoing, and we have an FTA discussion, which I have paused for reasons which he will know. However, he should know them, because I believe I referred to them in the select committee. So I hope that he was listening. But the point I'm making to the chair of the select committee, that trade is very dynamic. There are some issues which we are negotiating and discussing with our partners, which we have differences of opinion, and there are others which are going swimmingly. This is not a reason for us to cast aspersions on our trade relationships with those countries.
Yeah. Now, I made a video about the problem here, and I'll leave a link up here wherever for you to watch. But Byrne brought this up again as a point of order.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I wonder if you could advise me how we can get to the bottom of exactly what is going on with our Canadian trade talks. On the 25th of January, Politico broke a story about a breakdown in our trade talks with Canada, and I asked the Secretary of State about this, and she said this.
I thank the Honourable Gentleman for his question. It's a good opportunity for me to state explicitly, talks have not broken down.
Now, on our committee, we trust but verify. And, Madam Deputy Speaker, you will be as surprised as I was to hear the news relayed in a letter from the Canadian High Commissioner that says, as far as I'm aware, Since the UK announced its pause on the 25th of January, there have been neither negotiations nor technical discussions with respect to any of the outstanding issues. Now, Canada is a NATO ally, it's a Commonwealth partner, it's one of our biggest export markets. How do we get to the bottom of whether these trade talks are going on in the Secretary of State's mind or whether they're happening in real life?
So someone's lying, isn't there? Is it these LGBT organisations? Those at the Freedom of Information? Or Canada's High Commissioner? Or Ben Bradshaw? Or is it just our Minister for Business and Trade and Women and Equalities Minister, Kemi Badenough? Who do you guys think? Let me know down below and I shall bid you farewell and take care, my friends.